Hi, this is Bruce Collins, and you're watching Bruce Collins' Hidden History. Good evening. I'm Bruce Collins. By the spring of 1943, the Second World War had reached a turning point. The Allies had driven Axis forces from North Africa. Now came the difficult question: where should they strike next? Military planners knew Sicily was the logical choice. It was close. It controlled shipping lanes, and it opened the door to mainland Italy. There was only one problem. The Germans knew that too. If Hitler concentrated his forces on Sicily, the invasion could become a catastrophe. So British intelligence faced an impossible challenge. How do you convince one of history's most suspicious dictators to defend the wrong country? Two British intelligence officers, Charles Cholmondeley and Ewan Montague, began searching for an answer. They stumbled across an obscure intelligence memo. One sentence stood out: the trout must be tempted with the right fly. The idea was simple: feed false information to the enemy in a way that seemed accidental. Not fake radio broadcasts, not forged newspapers, something much more believable: a dead messenger. The British eventually found the body of a Welshman named Glyndwr Michael. He had lived a difficult life, homeless, poor, largely forgotten. He died after ingesting rat poison, not intentionally, but after consuming bread contaminated with phosphorus. British officials quietly received permission to use his remains. But they couldn't simply drop a body into the ocean. They needed to create an entire human being. A new identity was born: Major William Martin, Royal Marines. He wasn't real, yet everything about him had to feel authentic. Wallet, military identification, bank receipts, keys, train tickets, club membership, a theater ticket, even overdue bills. My personal favorite detail: a photograph of his fictional fiancée. Her name was Pam. The picture actually belonged to an MI5 secretary. Love letters, engagement ring receipt, personal correspondence, every item served one purpose: to convince German intelligence this officer had lived, had laughed, had fallen in love, and now tragically died. Now came the most dangerous part. If the documents looked fake, the operation would fail. If they looked too perfect, the operation would fail. They had to look exactly like something a hurried military courier might carry. Inside, private letters, military correspondence, references to upcoming Allied operations. Hidden within the letters, the crucial deception: the Allies supposedly planned to invade Greece and Sardinia. Sicily appeared merely to be a diversion, exactly what the Germans needed to believe. The brilliance wasn't simply telling a lie. It was wrapping that lie inside dozens of ordinary truths. April 30th, 1943. Early morning. Spanish coast. British submarine HMS Seraph. Crew gathers on deck. The body is carefully released. The tide begins carrying Major Martin toward shore. Within hours, Spanish fishermen discover him. Spain was officially neutral. Unofficially, many government officials quietly cooperated with Germany, and British intelligence knew it. German agents receive access to the briefcase. They secretly photograph every page, then carefully reseal everything, returning it exactly as it had been found. British scientists later examined tiny scratches, paper fibers, and envelope seals. Their conclusion? Someone had definitely opened the documents, exactly as planned. Think about the confidence this required. The British were depending on the enemy to steal their fake documents. Berlin. The documents arrive. Hitler reads them. He becomes convinced. The real invasion would strike Greece, not Sicily. Orders go out. Troops move. Panzer divisions relocate. Defenses strengthen hundreds of miles away, exactly where the Allies had hoped. July 10th, 1943. The Allies land in Sicily. Nearly 160,000 troops. The invasion still faced fierce resistance. Many brave soldiers gave their lives, but historians generally agree the German disposition of forces had been influenced by the deception campaign. The operation helped create uncertainty within the German high command. No deception wins a war by itself, but a good deception can change where an enemy chooses to fight. The fictional officer received a real grave in Spain. His headstone still stands today. Later, the truth emerged. The unknown Welshman finally received recognition. Today, both names appear together. Glyndwr Michael and Major William Martin. One real, one fictional, forever linked. I think what fascinates me most about Operation Mincemeat isn't simply that it fooled Hitler. It's that success depended on understanding human nature. People rarely believe information because it's true. They believe it because it fits what they already expect. Hitler expected an invasion somewhere other than Sicily. British intelligence understood that, and they built an entire operation around that expectation. History is filled with battles fought by soldiers, but occasionally history turns on the work of writers, artists, actors, and intelligence officers. Operation Mincemeat reminds us that information can be as powerful as ammunition. In our own time, when misinformation, propaganda, and influence campaigns are discussed almost daily, this story feels surprisingly modern. It also reminds us to ask an important question whenever we encounter dramatic claims. Who wants me to believe this, and why? Sometimes the greatest battlefield isn't a beach, it's the human mind. I'm Bruce Collins. Thank you for joining me for this edition of Hidden History. If you enjoyed today's story, consider subscribing to this channel as well as The Bruce Collins Show and Bruce Collins Reacts and Stuff. Next time, we'll uncover another remarkable true story from history, one that proves reality is often more extraordinary than fiction. Until then, keep asking questions.